Hello everyone, I have an interesting topic to talk about today, which is spam. Now for a lot of people, spam is, a lot of casual people, spam has a very negative connotation for it, or to it. It's like a kind of effortless way of just kind of brainlessly applying damage. But in a competitive setting, it's a much more neutral term. It is a method. Strategy is probably not the right word, but an extremely useful tool. And I do want to talk about that today. So of course you have your two spam classes, that being Demo and Soldier, and what makes them spam classes is the fact that they have access to reliable splash damage, or kind of, they have explosives with an area of effect, right? I suppose stickies count as splash damage, of course, and rockets obviously do. So as a result, these are the classes you want holding doors, and these are the classes that are extremely valuable defensively, because spam is such a useful avenue for controlling space. And remember, TF2 is a game about space. Without spam, teams can kind of just walk through choke points, right? And what makes this possible is not just the fact that your splash damage can hit multiple targets, although that is a consideration, but it's also that spam is a reliable way to deal damage without taking that much damage yourself. Because if you think a scout trying to hold a door, right, they can certainly be getting through the door, holding the door is what I was saying. They can be close to the door, hitting people for, 60, 80 damage shots, doing a lot of damage, but they're in a range and in a position where that damage can easily be dealt back to them. So all they're really doing is like trading down, and that damage trade isn't necessarily that favorable. Versus a soldier holding a door can kind of hold an angle and get splash damage, prevent people from peeking while taking less damage themselves, or they could be peeking it and doing a lot of damage to multiple players while taking some themselves, or a similar amount themselves, trading down that health. Likewise, a demo, very good at using all their projectiles to hold doors. Demo is the best door holding class in the game, maybe. And what spam enables you to do is to trade this damage favorably and to deal more damage to the players trying to get through than you're taking yourself. So as a result, spam is a really, really useful tool for that end. And as far as what makes spam a more neutral term in a competitive setting or among competitive players is the fact that the counterplay is extremely simple. Because obviously when spam is a primary means of controlling space and applying damage from relative safety, it's not very high risk, right? Or rather, it's generally easier to avoid. In the case of like a team trying to get through a choke point while pushing with ad or something, you're obviously going to be facing spam. And, in a situation like that, let's imagine their demo is spamming pipes at the choke. Well, you can delay, get through maybe just like a second after you otherwise would, so that demo trying to time the pipes to when you're getting through is, as a result, going to miss the timing, and you won't be catching a pipe or anything. And long-range spam, like in the case of, let's say, pushing with ad into Snakewater mid, if you're going Saw and the other team is playing their Saw, they're very far away, and it's usually pretty easy to react to and avoid that damage in time. On top of the fact that spam is generally less strong, it's usually kind of further range, like with damage fall off applied is the word I'm looking for. So rockets, like a direct hit rocket is going to be doing like close to 50 damage, and the splash is only going to be doing like 30s and 20s. If you catch a pipe, then that's a big deal, of course, but the rollers are only going to be doing 30s and 40s typically. You can see there, nice 30 damage in spam. So nothing crazy, but if you don't respect it, that ticks up quickly. Like if a med eats 2 direct rockets, that's 90 damage. And suddenly they're not only very forcible, but it's not that rare for players to just straight up die to spam when they're not careful. So you definitely have to respect it to some degree, and that's part of what makes spam powerful. But again, the counterplay is so simple because you just don't stand in spammable positions. Like a lot of the time, if a player gets through or tries to get through a choke point while everyone is alive, so even numbers, even players, if they just try to walk through and they just get annihilated by the demo and like catch 4 sticks or 3 sticks and die, they're not gonna afterwards get upset and be like, God, this stupid sticky spamming demo, this is so broken. No, that never happens, because they're immediately gonna be like, why did I do that? Obviously, like, I'm the only one who chose to take that positioning, and I got punished for it with spam, so that is my fault. And I think that is a big disconnect between the casual and competitive players a lot of the time, is that casual players don't necessarily think about their positioning with regards to spam that much, and will, as a result, just eat a lot of spam, and then feel as if, you know, it's the other player doing something cheesy, rather than them getting punished for poor positioning, right? So I think that spam is a useful tool in that regard, and the counterplay is very easy, because if you're playing certain positionings, then spam is just very difficult to get onto you, and you're not going to have any trouble with spam, realistically speaking. On top of the fact that, like, with better movement, you're going to dodge more spam and whatnot. When you're actually paying attention to it as well, it's like pretty easy to avoid. So in general, spam is very, very manageable if you're just playing good positionings. And if you want to, for example, take space, then suddenly spam turns that into a risk-reward decision to make, rather than, oh, we have ad, now we just get to dry push willy-nilly for with no drawbacks. No, you actually have to be good at that. You actually have to be careful about it, because if you aren't, then you might get punished with spam. So spam is a very useful tool. I keep saying tool because it is. It's a very useful consideration in the metagame. And it does a lot of things. And it does a lot of things very, very fairly, I should mention as well. Because again, if you are dying to spam, that's kind of on you. If you are taking a ton of damage and getting punished with spam, again, that's largely on you. So when spam is a massive problem, it's very, like, the solution is kind of just to look at your own play and see what you're doing and see how to improve and play against that spam. So I'm sure, like, for some people that complain about sticky spam all the time, like, is it annoying that you can't just stay in a position that you want and just kind of linger there and be fine? Yeah, sure, it can be. But if you are getting punished for playing that kind of position, then the solution is to play a different position, I guess. What else? There was something else important. Oh yeah. So another thing that helps balance out spam as well is the fact that ammo goes pretty quickly, right? And this is actually one of the minor arguments that people have for banning the cow mangler, is the fact that the no ammo count of it makes, oh, you can see spam is actually a big deal. Like, on the sultry mid, I don't know exactly where I should necessarily be positioned, because I was standing by choke, but just eating so much spam that as a result, I'm thinking, like, no, this can't really be that right. There has to be, like, a better position for me to be playing. Or, you know, my teammates are playing in certain positions that enables them to get certain spam. Again, there's a lot to analyze. But when I almost die to spam on a mid, I'm thinking, okay, my positioning needs to get fixed here. And that is a large consideration for a lot of mid fights where you just can die to spam, like Metalworks, for instance. Tangent aside, though, the ammo count definitely keeps spam in check. And you actually have to be smart about how you use it. And it introduces a new, I don't know if skill is necessarily the right word, but a new aspect of play, which is communicating and coordinating with your teammates such that the ammo packs are being used efficiently. Because, you know, demos and soldiers very often have to get ammo packs. I mean, you can see, you know, I'm down to, what, like 10 stickies total at this point. I'd very much like to get an ammo pack, and I imagine once I back up to second, I probably will. Oh, is disad? Oh, right, we got forced. Oh, and look at me going for the ammo pack. And obviously some points are different than others. You know, on certain points, there's plenty of ammo packs, and on others, really not so much. So coordinating to get that ammo in order to actually properly spam is an important skill. I'm surprised I didn't route to that ammo pack, actually, because I am still low. But, yeah, spam is a very important tool. Overall, a very healthy part of the metagame, because while, yes, it is pretty easy to go for, there are certain considerations like ammo, as you can see I'm having trouble with a lot right now. Ammo is a consideration, and also your ammo loaded is a consideration. Like, you want to have stuff loaded for, you know, if things go poorly, and you really need that ammo for something more important than just kind of the, you know, the chance of getting nice 40, 50 damage on someone. But also, it's fair because the counterplay is very, very straightforward and easy to understand. Because, yeah, if you are getting punished with spam, it's usually a matter of positioning or pacing or something like that. Something that you are 100% in control of, right? So it's very easy to play around spam and to counterplay it properly. So I think overall, spam is an interesting aspect of the metagame. Because, again, in a game about space like TF2, spam is your primary tool of controlling it. So, of course, it's going to be very important, and I think overall very healthy, very fun to play around as well, because it's enjoyable to dodge a bunch of damage from long range and have the other team be kind of useless. I mean, you can see their demo shot like 3 stickies at me that mid, and I took 0 damage because I was good about kind of playing that positioning, playing not to stand in where those stickies were laying because he hadn't that yet, and yeah, as a result, kind of make their mid useless, while also trying to deal my own damage and my own spam in order to create opportunities for. You can just you can see why it makes the game interesting and why I like it. So yeah, you can quote me on that. I like spam. The demo main loves sticky spam. Deal with it. Yeah. That's probably all I have to talk about the topic of spam. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully it was a little bit of a recontextualization towards something that is usually given a bad rep. But no, you can use spam intelligently, you play around spam intelligently, and it's just an important aspect of TF2. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.